थोड़ा सा बढ़ा दो.
I request everyone to remain seated. Before we begin, I request you all to put your phones either on aeroplane mode, switched off, or silent. Thank you very much. Namaste everyone. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Yogastha, the wellness club of IIT Bombay, warmly welcomes you all to this talk and discussion on yoga, rejuvenating the mind and body. Today, we hope to explore this discipline and way of life that is yoga. What is this practice? How do I engage in it, and what will it do for me? Is it just about the self, or is it about something more? To give us some insight into this fascinating field, we are honored to have with us tonight our guest, Sir Shri M. Shri M is a living yogi, a spiritual guide, social reformer, and educationist. He has written multiple books, from the memoirs of his travels through the Himalayas and the rest of the country, to his most recent, On Meditation, a book which answers many of the questions we may have about this practice. His initiatives include the Satsang Vidyalaya. This provides free, high-quality, multilingual education to rural children from the tribal areas of Andhra Pradesh. Another one, the Satsang Swasthya Kendra, to provide affordable yet quality and preventive and curative healthcare. The Manav Ekta Mission, to promote interfaith harmony and to transcend religious, racial, cultural, geographical, and ideological differences. The Walk of Hope. This was a Padayatra spanning more than 7,500 kilometers and over 11 states in the country, from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, for peace, harmony, from Kanyakumari to Kashmir, for peace, harmony, and tolerance. Sir has continued to work for these initiatives and more. So let us dive straight into the session today. I request Professor Vasi to felicitate Sir with the Tulsi plant. Professor Vasi remain on stage, please. We have another guest with us tonight. Mrs. Alumelumani is a Sangeet Academy Award winner and the mother of the renowned musician Sri Harihara. So we are very honored to have you with us. Thank you so much for being here. I request Ma'am, Professor Vasi, and Apur to come on stage and conduct the book launch of Shri M's latest book on meditation. thank you very much. So let us get started with today's session. I now hand over the mic and the dice to our honored guest, Shriyan. Please give him a round of applause.
So, thank you for inviting me to IIT Bombay. Actually, I'm very happy to go to institutions where young people are involved in science and technology. Because yoga, according to me, is no less a science and a technology. We will come to that. Before we start this, I would like to, I hope you don't mind if I chant something from the ancient text. Is it okay? Nowadays. So, this is a mantra from Vedic time. And it is chanted before the beginning of anything good, instructive, and auspicious. And the mantra is Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah. I'll explain. But nowadays Sanskrit is at a premium, so I'll explain. Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramaya, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukhavat Bhavet. I would also add Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavat. So you see, the common word here is Sukhina, which means, you know what is Sukha. I'm sure that much everybody knows. Sukha is happiness, a state of not having pain, happiness both physical as well as mind happiness. Now, the WHO has included, the World Health Organization has included in its agenda for health that the mind health is as important as the body health. Okay. What? So the mantra says, Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, may the whole world be happy. Not only IIT or non-IIT, not only this part of the country or that part of the country, but may the whole world be happy. Sarve, Sarve means all that we survive. Then, Sarve Santu Niramaya, may there be no suffering for mankind. Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, may we open our eyes and see all that is good and wonderful and auspicious. Ma Kaschid Dukhavat Bhavet, let not suffering touch us. All order of course. And Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu, may the whole world be happy. This is the message which is 2000 years old. Somebody might say, no, it's 1500, doesn't matter. Old, ancient. So what I'm trying to say is something, because something is ancient, we don't have to forget it. Because there may be gems of wisdom coming from us 1,000 years ago. One of those wonderful teachings that we have in this country is yoga. Yoga is, if you go into the Upanishads, you can still see the teachings of yoga. Later on you will see it in the teachings of the Yogacara Buddhists. And then you will see yoga mentioned as the masterpiece, magnum opus, Patanjali, the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, and then many other systems of yoga. I belong to the Nath Sampradaya. Many of the textbooks on yoga, including the Hatha Pradipika, were written by people belonging to this tradition of the Naths, Tatiku, Machendranath, Gorakhnath. That's not so important. Anyway, so the standard textbook that we use today, almost universally, is the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. Now I want you to look, I know today's subject is rejuvenation, yoga for rejuvenation of body and mind, yes. But I want you to learn the traditional definition, listen to the traditional definition of what yoga is. And please bear in mind that yoga is a systematic, step-by-step process, as scientifically investigatable, if there is a word like that, as possible. You can go into it step by step, depending on the conditions in which you live, and bring about a change in yourself. This is the first step in the practice of yoga. There is nothing, no mopo jupo, there is no, either you have to take her out, or you have to keep her quiet. Keeping quiet is not possible. The little children can't be kept quiet. Might distract others. Sorry. When he grows a little older, he will learn yoga. So, this is important. So, I am going to tell you the definition of yoga according to Patanjali first. And then from there we will go on. Patanjali defines yoga as Yogas-Chitta-Vritti Nirodha. Yogas-Chitta. So that's the second sentence that occurs in the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. The first sentence is Atha Yoga Anushasanam. Here begins the study of yoga. And the next sentence is Yogas-Chitta-Vritti Nirodha. So now we have to explain yoga, chitta, vritti, and nirodha. So, yoga you understand. It means that which we call yoga is the nirodha of the vrittis of the chitta. Is that clear? So what is chitta and what is nirodha? Now, the yogis believe, not only believe, it is their experience through practice, that the first step in opening up the dimensions of the mind from limited to unconditional and unlimited, almost unlimited, is that the mind which is always distracted, you know that, how it is. The exams come and you want to study about your subject, but then you want to read Hemingway. You know, that mind goes. Or I am trying to do something very seriously and something occurs and I have understood. The mind is jumping from one branch to another like a monkey on a tree. We know that. It never is still. So this is the natural condition of the mind. Why? Because the mind is distracted. Also because of conflict. Conflict and distraction. What is the conflict? I think this is right. 10 minutes later, I think this is not right. That is right. 5 minutes later, I come back to what I thought. There is a conflict. And the distraction is when I am trying to sit and look at something, something else attracts me. Distraction. And in this world, there are many distractions. There is no place where there are no distractions. So you can't be free of distractions. You can't run away to the cave. You can't go away to the forest. Living in this world with all the people around, one can learn how to free the mind from distraction. Now, this distraction is what we mean by vrittis. They may be positive, they may be negative, but they are distractions. So, these are called vrittis. And chitta is the mind which is made up of thought. At the moment you cannot identify any mind in the body except in the brain. You can't see any other mind. Because the mind is here, but it is the heart that is beating. I mean, it comes from here. So this is for the purpose of study. The mind is only here in the brain. It produces thought. And because it produces thought, we have the mind. You can't think of a mind without thought. Mind itself means a collection. However, this is always being distracted, up and down. You know how we live in this world? When something nice happens to us, our mind is in cloud. Suppose you think, or you express the opinion that I am a illumined soul. You don't have to. Then what happens? I am on cloud 9. Suppose somebody says, I think this fellow is an idiot. Then what happens? I'm down. I'm not. This is our life. We depend on what others think, opinion of others, circumstances affect us. So the mind is always up or it is down. When it is down, we call it depression. When it is up, we call it super excitement. It is bound to come down. Anything that goes up will come down. So, is there a way by which the distractions of the mind are made to become almost disappear? When you say Nirodha, totally disappear. Eliminate. Now, if this is done, what happens? Then that mind, which is free of these distractions, is a calm, quiet mind, which is actually the runway. It's only the beginning of yoga, the runway from which the mind can soar to higher levels of thought. So, this is the definition of yoga. And the whole of the science of yoga is the step-by-step movement into this. Now, we will not discuss other forms of yoga here, which is, according to the Gita, every chapter is called a yoga. There's Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, Karma Yoga, and so on. So let's not get that. I'm now talking about practical science of yoga, as we know, alive. Now, if that is so, when the mind is freed of distractions, and when the mind becomes absolutely calm, what happens? Then it's able to explore realms which are normally not available to the mind in its distracted state. So if you see, sometimes it happens spontaneously, automatically to some people, and they turn out to be geniuses in certain fields. Classical example, Einstein. Einstein did study physics, but he didn't go to any huge, great institution. The first time he applied in Switzerland, he was refused by them. But what I want you to understand is that Einstein was also interested in music. Music was his greatest interest. When he was not doing his research, he was playing the violin. And he said that many of the answers he got was when his mind was soaring in the field of music. Which means what? The mind is not distracted. When it is not distracted, it expands. When it expands, it embraces things which the normal mind, which is in distraction, cannot embrace. Therefore, it's in our interest to find out if there is a way to keep the mind clear and calm. You don't have any belief systems are not required. In fact, there are yoga is derived from Sankhya. Sankhya, Kapila, is a philosophy which does not even discuss the concept of Ishvara or creativity. And yet, it's a very important step towards yoga. So, you can suspend that. You can take yoga as a typical, practical science which step by step can lead you to an undistracted, tranquil mind from which you can take off to the higher dimensions and higher levels of thought and existence. This much we think of. Okay. Now I know you have Yogastha organization here among the students. So what have I to do with this? What you're doing? Is practice of yoga asanas important? Or is it merely yoga of the mind? Now here, the science of yoga says that without a healthy body, you cannot have a healthy mind. So, therefore, to keep the body in good health, the practice of asanas is important. Now, the Yoga Sutras define yoga as Ashtanga Yoga, or 8 steps, 8 branches, yoga of 8 branches. So let's examine one by one to see where physical exercise and asana come into the picture. The first 2, yama and niyama, are the 2 principles to be followed as much as you can to move forward in yoga. They're not a practice, they're something to be practiced as a daily habit, to bring about good habits, which means to eliminate negative habits and bring about positive habits. Habits which are conduce you to your movement towards a calm mind. That's what it means. Like, you have to change your lifestyle. So, you can't say every day, I will sit in the bar and drink for till late 12 o'clock and then practice yoga, and not possible. So there is a moderation. The best definition of yama niyamas, rules and regulations, first 2 branches of yoga is moderation in everything. Moderation in eating, moderation in drinking, moderation in sleeping, moderation in entertainment. You can watch TV, but not the whole night. Gita, Krishna describes yama niyamas very nicely by saying, this yoga is not for him who eats too much, or eats too little, or sleeps too much, or sleeps too little. This kind of, which means moderation is the key. These are the first 2 principles in yoga. The next is, of course, asana. So what is the importance of asanas? You would say asanas are postures. Asanas doesn't mean that you should stand on your head for an hour and shake your legs in the sky. In fact, Patanjali describes asanas as Tirasukam asana. That posture which you can maintain comfortably for a length of time becomes your favorite asana. So is asana merely physical exercise or something more? This is what we need to discuss before we go further. Asana is not merely physical exercise. If you need only merely physical exercise, you can do other exercises. There are so many gym exercises, building your muscles. I'm not saying you shouldn't be doing that, but yoga asanas are not meant only to build your muscles or to build a big chest and a narrow waist so that your kidneys are squeezed out of shape or anything of this kind. Yoga is generally meant to keep the body fit, supple, and sensitive. Also, if it's a physical exercise, it is also connected to the mind. How? We know today, modern science has showed us, that hormones play a great part in our life. Our moods are governed by what kind of hormones are pumped into the bloodstream. If adrenaline is suddenly pumped into the bloodstream, you become a very angry person. If dopamine or serotonin is pumped into the bloodstream, not by us, but by internal organs, then you become calm and meditate when you enjoy. Yoga says that through certain physical practices, you can improve the hormone ratio in your bloodstream. So it deals with the endocrine gland system, not only the muscles and the body, but also the endocrine system. You know that the master gland in the human body is the pituitary gland. It controls many functions. The pituitary and the pineal, for instance. Okay. 80 years ago, people thought that this little organ called the pineal gland, which is part of the ductless endocrine system, was a vestige organ. to sleep. 60 years ago, they discovered that it is a very important. So what does it do? It contains a chemical or a hormone called melatonin. When melatonin is pumped into the system, then you fall asleep. If it is disturbed, you cannot sleep. This is jet lag. When the ratio, it's called, the scientists call it the circadian rhythm, the rhythm of sleep and waking, controlled by this little thing called the pineal gland. So what happens when you do, I'm just giving an example, can't go into the whole thing. Suppose I do Shirsasana or Sarvangasana. Lot of blood circulates in this area. So all the organs and glands which are situated in that area, they are flushed with blood. So what happens? Their function improves. It's the same with all the other glands in the system. So yoga is not only physical exercise, it is to do with how to bring about an altered state of mind. Physical health, of course. I'm 70 years old now. I have a grey hair and grey beard because I decided long ago better to die than to die. That's why. Otherwise, in other matters, my body is probably as fit as you. If you want me, you might defeat me eventually. What is the secret of this? I don't look muscular. I'm nothing against the muscular body, it's fine. So what is it that keeps the body at the age of 70 healthy, supple, and ready to do what a person of 22 years might be doing? What is it? If you're asking for a recipe, yoga. I started at the age of 10. Apart from the meditative yoga, I'm talking about Asanas, age of 10, till today, except if I'm not well, I have fever, cold, or I'm traveling, I can't do asanas in a flight, for instance. But I keep practicing every day, at least for half an hour. Now what is the advantage? I'm standing for you, that's that one. I don't partner physically. Mentally, alertness. Mind is alert. It can grasp what it needs to do very fast. In fact, people get very worried because when I go for a talk, I don't know what, just when I get off the car, I ask, what is the subject today? Today somebody almost had a heart attack. Because the mind, which is healthy, because the body is also, and calm and quiet and tranquil, can connect to any subject which it knows, of course. If you ask me about supersonic physics, I may not be able to tell you. What did you say? Your speciality? Remote sensing. And we also have some kind of remote sensing. But I may not be able to talk about the science, the physics of remote sensing. Which we have a way of remote sensing also. We believe that certain parts of what we call the psychic centers, when they are regenerated, then you can sense something remote. And this was before remote sensing appeared on the scientific scene, without instruments. There are instruments, not physical. So, why am I discussing this? Okay. So physical body, mind. If these two can be handled, then you can go beyond, expand your horizons, increase your capacities, and yet don't live like an agitated human being, but a tranquil and quiet human. These are the advantages of yoga. So we discussed only 3 steps: yama, niyama, asana. After that comes pranayama, then there comes pratyahara, then there is dharana, dhyana, and so on. These are the steps. We don't have to go into that. So basically we are talking about yoga, physical yoga, for rejuvenation of body and mind. I think we'll We are now limiting ourselves to that at the moment. So, if you rejuvenate your body and mind, and if you have learned how to calm your mind and make it tranquil and free from distractions, the rest will follow. You don't have to go too much into it, the rest will follow. Now the third step after asana, the fourth step, is pranayama. So how important is pranayama? Don't think that pranayama is to do with breathing vigorously, which is good of course. Prana is not the breath. Prana is the life energy that works in our system as it works in other things in the world, not just the body. Now, fortunately for us, our breath is linked to the prana. So if you can bring your breath, shwasa, into a certain rhythm, you can learn how to adapt and use your prana according to your will and not opposite. This is the science of prana. How do we test it? Everything needs a test, right? Now, this is one thing I want to tell you. In yoga, there is no point in theoretical discussions. The proof of the pudding is in the eating it. Well, I've changed this now. When I go abroad, I say, the proof of the idli is in the eating it. I say, what is an idli? It's a rice pudding. So, through practice of yoga, you can perfect your mind and body. Make it tranquil. Allow it to explore greater horizons and move forward. So, where is pranayama? Breathing techniques which are linked to the prana, like this. It's a very simple experiment. If you are very agitated, close your eyes and watch your breath for a second. You will figure out that your breathing patterns are also very agitated. When you're very calm, listening to music, something nice which you love, close your eyes and watch your breath. Discover that your breathing pattern is very quiet and slow. So the rishis, who are scientists in this field, said, if our moods affect our breath, is it possible to change our moods by altering the rhythm of your breathing? From this came this whole science of pranayama. Now there is a simple way of doing it, if you want to test it. Sit down quietly in any place and close your eyes and simply watch your breath. You don't even have to control it. Simply be aware of your. It's very interesting. Even in the womb, the breathing starts for the fetus. And it goes on and on till we die. We don't say breathe. Do we ask the breath to breathe? It goes on by itself. We have no control over it. And when it stops, can you say start again? No, you are not there to say. They say in Gujarat, off ho gaya. Gone. So breath is such an important part. In my part of the country, Kerala, there is a pancharai. That means no air in the tire. Gone. Now this thing, which is so important, you can live without food for a few days. You can live without water also for a few days. You cannot live without breath for more than a minute. Such an important part. And yet, we don't give any attention to breath. We think, oh, it happens by itself, so let it go on. We are saying, give a little bit of respect and attention to the breath. And if you close your eyes, simple experiment, if you close your eyes, watch your breath, after some time, automatically, spontaneously, you'll feel like giving a deep sigh. And then your mind is calming down. Your breath is calming down, result, your mind is calming down. When your mind calms down, it's nice and peaceful and tranquil. Now, don't fall asleep. When the mind becomes quiet, it can do two things. Either it can fall asleep or it can go to an expanded state of consciousness. Two things can happen. So try to stick to this rather than that. Well, if you're suffering from sleeplessness, it's a good exercise. Lie down on your bed and watch your breath. Instead of gulping tablets, you might go to sleep. Because when the mind is calm, it either sleeps or goes to a higher level of consciousness. Now this is something which you can experiment every day. If you are very disturbed or excited, sit down quietly and watch your breath. In 5 minutes, you will find that your breathing has slowed down by watching. The breath behaves like quantum particles. You know that? From the Newtonian certainty to the uncertainty of quantum physics, we have come a long way. Those days we knew everything about science, physics. Now, scientists who have gone deep into it are not sure about it, which is the new discovery. It's called the theory of uncertainty. And what is the theory of uncertainty? The tiniest brick unit of matter, which are called quantum quarks. Nobody knows now whether they are particles or waves. This is where we stand. You think they are waves, and as you watch, which you observe, you find that they have become particles, acting like particles. You think they are particles, and you're observing, you find that they're behaving like waves. Nobody knows. In fact, some scientists have gone to the extent of saying that it probably depends on the observer. David Bohm was one of them. Not fully accepted, of course. He said the observer maybe is more important than the observed. Perhaps. In the same way, when you observe the breath calms down. You don't have to do anything. And when the breath calms down, then your mind is free of distractions. And when the mind is free of distractions, it expands to horizons which normally it will not be able to expand when it is distracted. This is the importance of pranayama. There are many kinds of pranayama. They are also meant to increase the flow of certain energies in your body and mind. There are different kinds of it. So, in a nutshell, practice of yoga is for body and mind. It begins with the practice of bodily postures and change of lifestyle. And then from there you go on how to observe and explore the infinite potential in your mind, which appears to be finite but is not. And then in the end result, which is called Samadhi Yoga, is when you suddenly find that when the mind is no longer connected to one individual being, it's part of everything in this universe. This they call it. So, couple of things. You are in this institution which has 300 acres. You can actually go into this study very happily, like the ancient rishis who lived in forests. Where was all this taught in the ancient times? In the forest academies, ashramas. Why are they called ashramas? Because there are trees and greenery and water everywhere. You are equipped with that already. Two dedicated students, dedicated teachers. Both are important in the practice of yoga. Healthy food. Today I went to the restaurant in ISKCON called Govinda. We had a beautiful meal. Because you have to be careful, otherwise you might overeat. So tasty. We had a lovely meal. There is no onion, there is no garlic, there is nothing. But the meal is very nice, very tasty. No problem. So one should also change one's style, lifestyle. Try to eat simple food. You know, the more tasty the food is, sometimes you end up overeating. So watch out what you do. Nothing is good when you overdo it. A professor might like a student who cracks jokes and asks questions, but when it becomes too much, what happens? So there is a limit to everything, right? So moderation in everything. as far as externally, you can be a yogi without changing your robes. I'm not wearing anything special. In fact, I was thinking of wearing a pair of jeans and t-shirt and come. And I thought somebody might get shocked by kindling. The external doesn't matter. Internal matters. This is the spirit of yoga. You can live in this world and you can still practice yoga. And if you practice yoga, I am proof for it. It will improve your mind, improve your health, it will improve also kindness in your heart so that you are concerned about others. Compassion is a very important part of the practice. Why? Because when you practice yoga deeply, you see a divine spark in yourself. Now it can't be only yourself, it has to be everywhere, if they have formed it or not. Therefore everyone becomes one. There is no need. There is an inner spiritual equality. Not economically, you can never expect everything to be equal. It doesn't work. We have tried it for centuries. It doesn't work. But internal equality, that in essence we are the same, is the real equality that is possible. And yoga is a beautiful beginning and a step towards blossoming into that unity. So, this kind of short talk is all that I can tell you. I hope you didn't expect me to do asanas only. But that there are youngsters here who can perform if they want. So with this I conclude my talk, considering also that I have to go 2 hours from here in the evening with all this Ganesh Chaturthi and Mahavir Jayanti traffic going on. I stop my talk here. If you have any questions which you think are relevant to the topic, important, no political questions please, then we can work on it. Thank you. Okay, so you have to give a mic.
Hello? Namaskaram, sir.
Yes, sir.
So, you mentioned samadhi. What does it actually means?
Well, samadhi, and now we need to go to the other aspect of yoga, which is the higher aspect. Samadhi means an altered state of consciousness in which you transcend your ordinary limitations, which the starting point, of course, is a tranquil mind. The mind becomes tranquil, and as you go deeper and deeper into the core of your being, then for a short period of time first, in the beginning, everything ceases to exist except the reality of your existence. Not that I am existing as this or I am existing as that, but certainly as existence itself. I mean, beyond that we cannot explain this. And you also feel that you are not just an individual unit, but part of the whole. And it's a whole WHO, not the black. So, when this happens, there is also a great deal of bliss and happiness, because the mind discovers that it's not confined to its limitations. It expands. And it's full of bliss. You can't call it ordinary happiness. It's much more than that. This is somehow the definition of samadhi. But there are many stages in this consciousness. Basically, I would define it as exploring and experiencing the boundless, unlimited potential of the mind.
So you talked about extremes of emotion, like We have to be not extra happy or not sad. Something like that. That was.
Why did you come in late?
No, I'm on time. I
Then.
have some back issues.
Okay. I don't have.
So, like, if I somehow control being extremely happy, will I be less sad when less sad in times of adversity? Like,
Yeah.
it was both ways.
There's a beautiful word in the Gita, the Bhagavad Gita, which defines what we were discussing, called Sthita Prajna. Sthita Prajna means, you know how our life is. As I said, when you're praised, then you're flying high. When you're criticized, then you're falling down. So, first thing to understand is, there is a beautiful statement, Tulya Ninda Stutir Mohini, which means, for the one who is a Muni, for a yogi, Ninda and Stuti are equal. Which means, he doesn't care, or he doesn't base his life's happiness on what others think about it. This you can get good lesson from politicians actually. They don't care, they carry on. I'm not saying you should imitate them, they carry on with good. So, when you see this, that intrinsically your happiness is in yourself and not on what people think you are. That is one step. And also when you are very happy, what happens is sometimes people get heart attacks and blood pressure also when they are extremely happy. Because your heart races up and starts pumping more than ever. This can also lead. So when you are happy, accept the happiness, enjoy it, but keep in your mind that this may not last forever. It can go on. So that when unhappiness seeps in, you are ready and prepared to meet it and say, okay, I know. Shake hands. There is an old Muhammad Rafi song, he said, "Tutu to apna saathi hai." And to make unhappiness also your friend, that unhappiness will lose its sting. You know what I mean? That balancing has to be. Where is the mic? You also Yogastha. Yeah.
No, sir. So, there are two aspects of my life. One is, I know if I perform more yoga, I'll reach higher and higher states of consciousness. And the other side is my ambitions in life. And when I'm doing yoga, I feel I'm losing time on the ambitions that I will achieve if I spend more time on this.
No.
And if I spend time on this, I feel I'll not reach the high levels of consciousness because I'm not doing more yoga. So where do I get the balance?
This is not true, actually. This is some misunderstanding here. All the great, in the past, there have been great yogis who were also great performers in the worldly way. They're not, they're not opposite, they're not antagonistic to each other. They're not talking about practicing yoga and retiring into a hermitage. Saying practicing yoga now. Look at the Gita. Actually, Arjuna wants to stop, retire, because of his weakness and because of his fear that he might be defamed if he lost the war. And teaching meditation in Dhyana Yoga, in the 6th chapter, Krishna makes him more active actually. But action without getting caught up in the opposites. This is what we should aim. Don't be afraid that because you practice yoga, you're not spending time on your worldly activities. All we are saying is in worldly activities, keep a certain level of moderation. And then practice. You will find that when your mind becomes calm, it becomes more intelligent. If it becomes more intelligent, and you can use it also for your daily life. Don't put them on opposite sides. It's part of the whole structure. You know, I'm standing here before you. You know, imagine if you look at my itinerary, you will think, why is this man at 70 not retiring? But I don't feel any strain. No? Because the mind is quiet. Everything happens, but I don't get caught. It's an art that one has to develop gradually through abhyas. So I don't take this story. Because I'm interested in yoga, I use this now. You gain it, but you gain it in a selfless way, not by causing harm to others. This way.
So this way, please.
Namaskar. So, how does one know that his or her spiritual journey is moving in the right direction forward?
I don't know what kind of spiritual journey you are on, so I cannot entirely answer this question, but according to me, if your spiritual journey is going in the right direction, then you will, while living in this world and functioning in this world, you will not get caught and battered by what is happening. This is the first step. Not visions. Nobody, no yogi can have as many visions as an LSD addict. Now an LSD addict is not a yogi. Right? So visions are not the criteria. Of course, in the process of yoga you might get something like that. That's okay. Not so important. What is important is my life becoming more positive? Am I able to control my emotions, like anger for instance? Am I more compassionate to other people around me? And nowadays, it's a very popular thing to say self-awareness. Right? Good. Self-awareness should not be confined to when you sit down to meditate. Your awareness should work even when you're outside, when you're not meditating. If I meditate and feel I'm peaceful, in the next instance I go out and pick up a fight with somebody else. That is not awareness. So, when you really develop awareness, when you're moving on the spiritual journey, first of all, people will notice that you become a more gentle soul. First thing they know. Second, under all circumstances, you will not be agitated. You will remain steady. And in your spiritual practice, you will derive a lot of happiness and bliss. If these three things are in line, then you're probably moving forward.
Sir, good evening, sir. I wanted to know about the initiation program for Kriya Yoga.
Now, the initiation program for Kriya Yoga means, first of all, let's see what Kriya Yoga is all about. Okay? Patanjali, in the chapter on sadhana, which is called sadhana, describes his teaching precisely as Kriya Yoga. He says, this, what I am going to teach you is Kriya Yoga. So, Kriya simply means a systematic practice, a technique by which you can go deeper into yourself, awaken the energies in your system and expand your mind. Now there are many such kriyas in yoga. In fact, there may be hundreds of kriyas in the Shastras. But when I say kriya, I am talking about that particular technique which has come to me from a certain parampara, tradition. Which doesn't mean that there are no other kriyas, please understand. Plus, it is not mandatory that you should learn kriya to progress. Not mandatory. My teacher used to always ask me, what kriya did Mirabai do? On the other hand, what kriya did Ravana Maharshi do? No. So, this is not a criteria. However, it's my tradition and I think it is very useful. So, when I say kriya, it means a technique which combines certain visualization and breathing patterns by which the energy that is potentially in every human being, I'm deliberately not using the word Kundalini, because nowadays you can awaken Kundalini by paying $3,000. What about others who have been practicing for ages? Fools. So, this Kriya is a way by which you can awaken the energies in your system and reach a level of spiritual evolution. For initiation, first of all, I like to find out if a person is really serious. And if I find that the person is really serious through knowing the person, then I invite people to come and take Kriya from me. And Kriya is not sold, so nobody can tempt me by saying, I'll give you 1 lakh, give me Kriya. Doesn't work. Kriya is given free. All we accept as a dakshina is a 1 rupee coin and a flower, which everybody can afford. But I want to know if I'm really giving Kriya to someone who can really practice and use it, and not wasting my time and effort. This is important. So if you are interested in Kriya, I'm sure you are, otherwise you didn't ask me this question. I would say, go to a website, a portal which says Meet Shri M. And then when you go there, you will get in touch with someone called Lakshmi Kumar. Write to her, mail to her saying, I would like to take Kriya from Sri Yuga, there are other Kriyas. So what do I do? So they all proceed. While I prefer people to come to Madanapalli where I live, we also have Kriya sessions in other places. So you can find out.
Sir.
Where is the voice coming?
Yeah. Sir, in outside market, there are a lot of organizations who has their own process of meditation, and they claim that their process is authentic. So how to know which one is correct?
Only through practice.
There are a lot of organizations and they have their own process.
So what to do? In fact, that is the unfortunate thing. There are more gurus than disciples now. So I would suggest that when you go to an organization or to a teacher, try to figure out if the teacher wants to give you something or he wants to take something from you. That is the first criteria. If you are satisfied with that, be with the teacher, find out how he operates for some time. Don't be in a hurry. Go slowly. And if you are really sincere, then you will get some insight from the proper source. Need not be necessarily me, somebody else. I don't want to go more into this details of this. Because today the world is like that. I think this is the last question because I need to go after this. No, the next.
So, good evening. We'll just take one question from, Yogastha had opened a portal so that the participants could post their questions online. So we'll ask one question from that set.
One.
So there was a question, what is the method or how can we control our thoughts while practicing meditation? So what is the way to get into that deeper state of meditation?
Yes, this is actually a very important question. It can come only when people really are practicing. Yeah, you sit down, you say, I'm going to calm my mind. There are 1,000 thoughts running. Why? Because the mind, like nature, cannot stay in a vacuum. It likes to be occupied. Always likes to be occupied. It is its natural state to be occupied. Normally the mind is not unoccupied. It likes to be occupied. So what do? Find a substitute internally to occupy your mind. What is the substitute internally which can occupy your mind and keep it away from getting occupied outside? Is the breath. So, the moment you fix your attention on an internal occupation, which is breathing in and breathing out, inhaling and exhaling, then you have succeeded somewhere in stopping the mind from being occupied in the outside world and getting it occupied. You can't make it blank, it doesn't work. Bring it inside and occupy it in your breath. When you do that for some time, for a length of time, then you will find that many extraneous thoughts have died down. And there is only the thought of the breathing in and the breathing out. That is step number 2. Step number 3 is, then slowly as it deepens, you see that you are the witness and the breath is going on. You're not even involved in the breath. You're just the bare witness, watching the breath coming, watching the breath going. That's the way to stop the distraction of the mind which runs around into 1,000 thoughts. This is the starting point. If you say, will it work? Practice and see if it works. Thank you very much. I'm sorry I'm a married man, you see my wife. She already said, oh, you're going again, huh? Yes. Thank you very much.
With this, we are nearing the end of what I hope has been a fruitful and entertaining session for you all today. So I take this opportunity to extend my heartfelt gratitude to our honored guest for today, Sri M sir, for being with us. So could we give him a round of applause, please? I also thank Ma'am, Alumina Mani, for being with us here today. So please, another round of applause for her. Thank you very much. I request Soman sir, Professor Soman, to present a token of appreciation to Sri M sir. Yeah, sir. Thank you. I thank all the dignitaries who have joined us from far and wide today. My heartfelt gratitude to the Director and the Dean of Student Affairs for their continued support. I thank Professor Neeraj Kumbhakarna, whose guidance has been critical to the success of Yogastha events. He is the faculty mentor for Yogastha. And of course, I thank the Yogastha team members, both past and present, without whom this event would not have been possible. And finally, I thank each and every one of you for taking time out of your schedules to come and join us and make this event a success. So thank you all very much. We hope to see you soon and have a very nice day. I request the Yogastha team members to come forward so we can take a quick group photo.
Because the question that always comes, is a very correct question.
Hello. Due to a lack of time, I request everybody not to come and meet Sri M sir personally. He has a busy schedule and does need to leave, so that would be very much appreciated. Thank you. No pranams, please.